Right.
And so if we can teach and educate individuals about those entities that make us who we are, what? Do you know how powerful that is? That's why I say the world needs the arts. I think because of the direction the program is moving in, they want to diversify their program. So they thought out, like, if you look at the ad that they put out for the position, first of all, and let's backtrack. So I'm currently earning my doctorate at Columbia University too, right?
Okay.
And people would have their qualms to say about being in these spaces, but at the end of the day, if we're not in these spaces, we can't speak up and advocate for ourselves. We can't have other people labeling or naming us, right? So if we're in these spaces, then we're able to say, like, no, that's not it, or I think you should do this, etc. Or here's our stories, right? Here I am doing the research on Grenadian folk dance. Here are our stories, so that those that are coming up can go back and reference it. So I'm always a firm believer, and a friend of mine would always say it, like, we can't make noise outside of the building. Like, we can't, you know what I'm saying? If you want to push it up, you have to be inside of the building, then build, right? And so that was one of my reasons for even pursuing this doctorate, among other things, owing it to my ancestors. So getting the position, it was because someone recommended me. I was like, dang, they want me, or someone mentioned my name. Like, why would they do that? So I went and I applied for the position. And when you look at it, they were looking for someone with a K through 12 background. They were looking for someone with experience in Afro-diasporic dance forms. Ding, 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 that's me. And it was just a matter of, girls, step out onto this, take that risk, and just, apply. And in me applying, I said, okay, I have no higher ed experience. I've taught, I went back to Howard. I may have taught a workshop there. I've taught at Centennial College in Canada. I may have taught a workshop in North Carolina, but to say that I've really taught a course in the tertiary system, I haven't done that. So that was one of my limitations. That was one of the reasons why I felt like, well, they were not going to give me this job because I have no experience. Psych. No, they were like, you made it to the second round. Psych. We loved your second interview. You're one of our 3 final candidates. Psych. We unanimously pick you to come and take this position. And so and I remember my advisor telling me this, he was like, don't second guess yourself. Go in there and be genuinely you. Be your authentic self. If you're this, Grenadian dancer who talks about Grenadian culture and talks about the work of you implementing Caribbean curriculum with your dancers in Brooklyn, talk about that. And that's exactly what I did. And so far, me being in this space, they want to hear this. And in me telling these stories, students have even expressed to me that they feel seen. Just being so passionate about this work, they're like, I feel seen, and I want to now learn about this. And I started Dance Grenada, moment of transparency, out of a breakup. So creating it in 2019, because I was like, okay, what are the things that make me happy? What's gonna pull me out of this space? Because John, no, I cannot function this way. And I was like, Lord, okay, let's go. So 2019 started. 2019, I was getting I got awarded with the Caribbean Life Impact Award, and then I got the 2020 Grenada Consulate Independence Cultural Ambassador Award, and I was like, oh, this is the best time. Let's go. Way COVID, boom. And at first I was like, okay, I'm not gonna do this. Having people in your village and having people supporting you. you can't do nothing without your community. And I'll say that 10 times over. It was the people talking to me in my ear was like, no, Shola, I'm not allowing you to settle for that. This has been your baby. You used to talk about this since Howard, since we had grants for the arts in the fine arts building our senior year, and I'm there writing up this fake, not fake, but you had to do your project, and I'm writing up a proposal to bring artists to Grenada and to do a dance festival. My friends, Melissa, my friend Carrie Ann, no. Okay, so let's reinvent the wheel. How are we going to still make this happen? And forcing me to think about ways to still create this network of dancers between Grenada and our international countries. And so it was like, okay, well, let's do a virtual model. Okay, I still want this welcome ceremony. I still want people to know who the teachers are. I still want us to have these conversations. How do I create this space? And literally with the help of my community and my friends, we made that happen. And so for the first 2 years, we functioned in a virtual space. Second year, we functioned in a hybrid space. And now this year is the first year it will be on island. A lot of the groundwork was done when I was home for Carnival this summer, right? So meeting with the ministries, meeting with our new Prime Minister, Deacon Mitchell, Honorable Deacon Mitchell, meeting with Honorable Ron Redhead, meeting with Grenada Tourism Authorities, and literally trying to get their support and backing. Once they gave me their support, which they did, it was a lot of the logistical planning has been through Zoom, right? Because I have one committee member in Atlanta. I have another committee member in New Jersey. I have another committee member in Ohio, and then another committee member in Grenada. This thing we called the arts and just creating projects. It's really a lifelong lesson in terms of organizational skills, time management, communication skills, because that's literally what I've been doing. And literally, like, here I am and just trying to like navigate and make sure all the places and the pieces of the puzzle are together. So we're doing it. I don't know how, but we are. Coming out of the past 2 years, we've had a very tumultuous 2 years between COVID, keeping a lot of us isolated, and folks now acknowledging their mental health and mental wellness, and having to rely on the things that keep them mentally healthy, keep them happy, keep them afloat, in addition to a lot of these social and political challenges that have been happening in the world. And not to say that these things are new, right? But I feel like for a moment, we were able to settle down, and now things were blatantly in our face, right? You had to settle down and you realize like, wow, I was really speed racing, and I never took a moment to really check on my mental. What are these things that keep me grounded, keep me healthy, keep me afloat? What are these things that have me, whether it be you're standing for something or not standing for anything at all? What are those things that you stand for, knowing what is happening in the world, knowing, okay, these powers that be, this is not new, but what do you stand for? And so using the arts, using dance, that has been my way it has made me happy, and it has been my form of resistance. It has been my political statement. It has been my social statement. I purposely come into spaces and start my classes with soca music, right? Because at a time when I was training, that wasn't necessarily the case. That wasn't necessarily the standard. Or we looked at soca as, oh, well, that is, gets on music. Not to say that my parents don't think that way, because that is why they used to play it. How do we have that conversation amongst the practitioners, amongst artisans, among dancers, for us to feel so empowered and so comfortable in who we are that we take that wherever we go. It's a dance festival, so of course we go through the embodiment of our language, our movement, right? So dance workshops. Oftentimes people feel like, oh, we're only dancing. No, we have conversations about what we're doing too. It gives us a moment to reflect. And it's not only dancers that will be invited to the panel. I have filmmakers, I have drama specialists, I have journalists, bloggers, just various diverse creatives coming together with the dancers to then have this conversation. We're also doing a welcome ceremony, which will be a space for us to gather, because we're bringing people into the island of Grenada for the sake of dance, and we're honoring 5 of our cultural practitioners. And those practitioners, they're in the press release. Gloria Payne Banfield, Livingston Nelson, and giving these individuals who have set the path their flowers now. Let's honor them now, so they know that they felt appreciated now, and continue to uplift and even teach the younger generation who these people are. Look, these people are still present on the island. These people have created spaces for you to continue your art form and to continue training. Let's create that community where they know who their elders are. And then closing it off with an island tour. And so the people that are coming into the island, they know what Grenada has to offer from a tourist perspective. So yeah. There was a point in time when I felt like people didn't believe in me. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes a part of that little girl is still trying to prove that what you said is not true. It's actually false. And I'm not going to allow you to name or dictate my path. So that's 1. 2, yes, I felt at certain times I had teachers who would say that I was lazy. And in my mind's eye, I'm like, do they not know how hard I'm working right now? Maybe my way of learning the information may be different from how this person is picking up the information, but it's not to say that I'm lazy. So it's to negate that statement of laziness and say, okay, no, I have to keep working, because I don't want to be called lazy. I don't want to be labeled that way. That's not who I am. And honestly, I have a hard-working mother who I believe has been my source of motivation, inspiration, support, encouragement, nourishment since day one. I even remember when I got the ASU job, I was on the phone crying. Oh God, I'm gonna cry right now. Cause she had moved back to Grenada. Mm-hmm. And so I literally was like grinding for myself in New York, like literally going to teach this class, going to this rehearsal, not having any money in my account, waiting for the bus, taking the train, going uptown, coming back downtown Brooklyn, waking up again to repeat the cycle. And she was just like, oh my God, you are working so hard. And I guess for her, you don't never want to see your children struggle or be challenged. And she just wanted me to be okay. And so I didn't want to fail her. I don't want to fail her. So that's where that discipline and groundedness comes from. Young Shola was definitely not this outspoken. I remember when, but she always loved music. She always loved soca, right? She just always. I actually have a picture of me and my cousin who passed away from leukemia in the Gap in Grenada, and we kiddies carnival outfit. And if you see Hannah over here, but yeah, she was extremely quiet, and I guess always doubting herself. I remember being in class, and my mom used to always say, "You're always standing in the back. Go in the front. Go. It's okay. Like you're letting them." Other girls, push their way to the front, but that was always me. I'm not always going to be, even now as an adult too, if there's a networking event, I'm gonna stand to the side. If my friend is here, we'll stand to the side together and we'll talk. And if people come to us, they come to us. But to say that I was the girl that would be at a birthday party and I would go in the middle of the circle and dance, I wasn't like that. I was very quiet. I like to say I'm an introvert extrovert, right? Where, people look at me and they would think I'm extroverted, but honestly, I'm an introvert and I'm pretty awkward. We do have our registration is up and running on our website, www.dancegrenada.com. If someone wants to register and purchase a full package, they can, even if they aren't able to attend. In the past, people have purchased tickets and sent me an email and said, "Hey, I purchased this ticket. I would like to donate it." Any way you feel like you can contribute, you can. Those that are on the island or not on the island, they can share to their social media platforms. Just for the creator to continue using me in ways unimaginable.
I like that.
I want him to continue to use me. I say this all the time. Like originally, I thought I was just going to be a performer. And I have friends that were with me in college at Howard and said, absolutely not.
Right.
I knew you were going to go and get your doctorate. I knew you were going to go ahead and continue to be a professor. I knew you were going to be the founder of this festival. And in my mind, I'm like, when? Yeah. So I again, this is definitely a calling. It's a labor of love, because it does make me frustrated at times. I don't see myself doing anything else. So for the creator to continue to use me in ways unimaginable. I am grateful to say that I am around in a time where we are pushing soca dance and soca music forward as a means of upliftment and bringing people together. It's exciting to be able to be on stage and to move to their music, and knowing that I can take that experience and then tell the younger generation, here's a lane for you to pursue your career, and know that you can go elsewhere with your career as well. You know what I'm saying? Like your career isn't limited to being a backup dancer for these artists. But knowing that that's just one entity, and knowing that we can go these multifaceted of ways to push the dance forward.